Hey, kids, how would you like to hear this on the screen instead of the great show you came to see? That's what you sound like. Honest. Please cooperate and do your part in keeping this theater quiet so everyone, including you, can enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, there's an intro. No, it's not that one. That one. There it is.
Tight ship.
Last week of school. Screw it.
Yeah. Everybody join in the chat here. I see him in the comments. What is up, everybody? Welcome into the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Post-draft edition. I'm your host, Adam Mares. Feeling casual today, guys. Feeling good, to be honest with you.
Is this a casual Thursday?
It's casual Thursday. You know, the last 9 months have just been casual Friday over and over again. Every day. The exact same pair of sweatpants. And you guys can't see it, but not wearing any pants today. Here's Harrison Wind, the beautiful one, the man with the wind in his hair.
I'm tired. I was up all night watching Zeke Nnaji highlights. All night.
That's true. We were in the group chat very late last night as we would get a new piece of detail. Like, check this out. Look at this thing. It's always fun. We got my man Brendan Vogt.
Jason asked me how my acting class went this morning. It went very well. Thank you.
You moved to Brooklyn and enrolled in an acting class.
I don't know. There's something there for sure.
That's some very hard-esque behavior, dude.
Yeah, we are. And then also we brought somebody on to talk about the jerseys today who's qualified to talk about that. We're all going to complain or whatever, but one of us has an opinion worth listening to, and it is not myself. It's D-Line Co.
It's funny that I reportedly have a opinion worth listening to, yet no one here ever listens to it.
That's so true.
That's not true. There are certain.
Just make it black, Eric. Just make it black instead.
I love this Marcus Howard hype. Also misspelled Marcus, but doesn't matter because the hype is still real. Doesn't even matter.
Go.
We back, baby. We back. I hope you guys, man. I'm so proud and enjoyed the draft show last night so much that if you missed it. First of all, I hope you always watch this on YouTube. Give us a retweet on Twitter and then hop on over to YouTube to watch us. Give us a like on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. But
put us up on every device.
Just put us on. There's really 4 people watching this 100 different times, and that's why our numbers are good. No, but I was just so proud of how it turned out. And if you missed it, I put timestamps in there, so you can go back if you want to see George Karl's interview, if you want to see Mike Singer's interview, whatever it is, or if you want to see our live reaction to the picks and /trade, you'll miss my live reaction as I had gotten up for 3 minutes and I was there, and that's when they made the trade. But if you want to get the reactions, you can go and look at all of that. And it was fun. I highly recommend it. And then if you missed it, set your calendar. Next year, we'll have another draft show. Today, though, we are going to talk about the New Jerseys. I can't wait for that. And by the way, how many times have you typed New Jersey in a text and it changes it to New Jersey?
No, you're telling me, brother.
Probably a lot for Vote. For Vote.
It's like not every time I'm doing that, I'm like, "What do you think of the New Jerseys?" And they're like, "What do you mean? What do I think of New Jersey?"
Yeah, but it's always the same sentence. It's always the same sentence.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, it's always the same sentence. Like, New Jerseys are trash. No, New Jersey is trash.
New Jersey is trash. That's true. They're like, "We know, bro. We know." But let's go over. So last night we got instant reaction, and one thing about the draft, I want to get this clear. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. We prepare for a scenario, and then we grade the evening based on how much it matches with the scenario we presented. What grade would you give? Well, this is a B because it did not match what I expected to happen tonight. But I think this is part of why I think the draft is a little bit silly. One is people, when they get so into the draft, they just want to be right, and you end up holding out hope. My guy Timothy Luau-Cabarrot, he just needs a better chance, man, or maybe Lonzo Ball. So I don't want to get into that because once a player is drafted, now we can start to analyze them and really get into the weeds of them, and that's what we're going to start doing today with Zeke Nnaji. And Nuggets picked up 4 players yesterday, guys. Zeke Nnaji, RJ Hampton, Marcus Howard, and Campazzo. I'm only going to go with Campazzo because
Fasu.
It's
Fasu?
Fatsu. All right, I like it. Fasu. I thought it was a hard C. All of them
Maybe
interesting to talk about, though, and that's why there's going to be a lot to get to. So we can skip some of this BS here and get right on to it. Let's just go in order of how they appeared for the Denver Nuggets. You mentioned you spend hours, Wind, on YouTube, the dark web, just combing through everything,
trying
to
do some
find
work.
Zeke Naji details. What have you come to between last night's show and today?
I mean, I just want to issue an apology to Mr. Nnaji for my instant reaction on the live show.
Hold on a second.
Give
Here's your
him
apology.
the spotlight. Get us all out of it. Give him the full screen.
Yeah, okay, let's clear out here. We need an ISO.
Zeke, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I didn't have a good scout. I'll admit it. I didn't have a good scout.
I didn't have a good scout.
I'm into it. I'm into it.
You gotta believe me this time.
I did my research. I went back, reviewed the tape, and I'm all in.
Oh!
I'm absolutely all in.
That's quite a bit, because I'm not. I would say that my apology is a little more muted. It's more of a like, I'm willing to give you a chance. You know?
Yeah, I'm sorry you made me feel that way.
Exactly. It's like a backhanded apology. No, but I mean, I'm not saying I'm all in. I'm curious. I'm intrigued. And what I will say is I really like the guy. Like, the more you start to look at some of the background on him, and it just gets to, we see him talking and doing interviews, and you're kind of like, this guy's fun. He kind of has a little, he might be the new Wancho. Didn't we needed a new Wancho? A little wacky, little
Tim
cool.
Connolly today, he's extremely intelligent, a maniacal worker, really, really smart guy. I get that impression too. He seems like a really smart guy, just a really in tune person.
Yeah. Vote, what about you? Oh, you can't hear anything?
What the H vote?
That's on your end, Vote. You can't
What's
hear
going
me,
on, bro?
But you can hear everybody else, or you just haven't been listening. All right, Eric, what about you? Do you have a news updated Zeke Nnaji, or are you just here to listen to us rave about him?
No, I too. My scouting, I will admit, was a little short. I saw no film of him. I based my opinion completely off of your guys' reaction, and I felt a little underwhelmed. Also, he was low on everybody's draft boards, but it turns out everyone's draft board is stupid and wrong.
That's exactly what it is. And this is, again, how we grade these things. Is it's hard not to have consensus. I put out my Paul Reed take, right? And I'm like, 22, he's probably going to be my favorite player. And people are like, you're an idiot. He's ranked 47th. And it's like, well, yes, I see that. You're asking me what I thought. I'm looking at these guys, and I'm sorry I didn't have the exact same take as everyone. But what I will say, I got a couple, made some calls, got a little bit of intel. Nnaji was considered a shooter in high school. That was what he was known for. You know that he has that beautiful shooting form, looks very like natural, and you know that he has like the mid-range game. He could knock down that mid-range, but the three. So a couple things on the three. A lot of his misses in college, and again, we're going off of one like shortened college season, so the sample size on how many threes he took and made is very low. But they were often or almost always short. And the reason I like that is you got a guy that's missing left, right, long. Like, it's like, okay, this guy's probably not a good shooter. His shot goes different every time. If it's always right on but just short, to me that's like, okay, that's a familiarity thing. You know this. He's only played in the college level one time, but you watch even at the NBA level, if you've never shot an NBA three, it's just weird. It's because it's just a distance you've never practiced, right? And so to me, there's hope for me that he can become a better shooter. And then last little detail here, he played AAU with Trey Jones, which I find interesting, and Matt Hunt also from Duke. So he played it kind of like Michael Porter on this like elite AAU squad, and was the standout. Like, he was like the guy, and you come into town and be like, oh my gosh, here it is. There's Zeke Naji's team is in town. So I found that kind of interesting.
I just love it because. Oh, go ahead, man.
No, you go. Go vote.
I think Eric was hitting on this, but with each day going forward now, our draft takes are increasingly outdated. So it's like, you know what I mean? I had an opinion of Nnaji going into, but now he's a Nugget, and from each day going forward, he will either work to prove folks right or wrong, and we'll find out. What I found interesting about our conversation with Tim this morning is if you look at the current scouting report on Nnaji, and if you look at some of the grades that are out there today from outside of Denver, people are looking at him like the skill set he has now, the one he displayed in Arizona, and how that might be an immediate backup sort of big. But if you talk to Tim, that's not how they view him. He almost wants to flip this scouting report inside out. You were touching on his jumper. They feel confident he can be a quality shooter. They like his defensive potential and potential versatility.
By the way, they saw him. This is one of the players they got to see in a pre-draft setting, and they said that they could even tell, even then with the shot, they liked where it was at. So what's currently sort of in the weakness columns in a lot of those scouting reports, those are things Tim believes he can turn into strength. So this is very much a project
And look, I think it's cool that he's described as a smart guy and a guy that, as Tim was saying, almost recruited Denver. He really wanted to play there. He really likes the way they play basketball. So
love it.
Just get excited about the pick, and we'll find out.
Yeah, he's a riser too. I don't think the Nuggets necessarily thought he'd be around at 22. I think they thought that there were teams ahead of them that were interested. And Zeke Naji's kind of been rising up draft boards. He added 20 pounds of muscle since May, just over the last 6 months. And he did that while on a vegan diet. And
I love this dude. I'm so in.
Yeah.
I mean, I added 20 pounds over this last 6 months, but it was like largely a jelly bean diet.
Yeah.
He is just like an all-out worker, and I think that's something the Nuggets really like about him. Everybody you talk to, like his agent, he's just like committed to the grind. He's a grinder. He's like a no-nonsense, just obsessed with basketball guy.
What I like also, I mean, obviously the thing, you know how there's always the one detail that comes out and everybody is like, jumps on board with it. With him, it's the piano. He plays the piano, right? And apparently this is like legit. Like he's pretty good. Not just like every now and then he plays, you know, whatever the
Jamal
song
Murray,
plays.
Also a pianist.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, potentially. But what I like is I saw an interview with him as a pre-draft interview, and somebody asked him, you know, what he's improved, what he's worked on since quarantine, and he said, "Do you mean basketball-wise or personal-wise?" Which I just first of all I love because I feel like there's 60 players picked and 59 of them would have just assumed only basketball was being asked. And she goes, "Well, you tell me." And he goes, "Well, basketball-wise, you know, jumper, this or that." And he goes, "But personal-wise, I'm trying to learn the harmonica." So that, and he's like, I even got one of those things. In fact, I might have. I should have got it ready because I too have one of these things. But you know, the like harmonica thing that holds it, so he can play the piano and do the harmonica at the same time.
You've got a blues traveler rig.
I do have a blues traveler rig. You know, this guy, man, I'm telling you, I connect with this guy. I'm in.
I understand your casual Friday music so much more now.
We gotta ask him if he speaks other languages because I just have a gut feeling he speaks like 3. He just seems like that kind of guy.
So I saw this. I didn't retweet too many things last night, but one of them was our homie, Ariana Lenarski, where she said something like to the effect of, whoever the Nuggets pick, I'm going to absolutely love, or something like that. And it says, I want to see exactly how she phrased it here. I guess I will never find it. But it was, that's like the vibe, though, man. Like, this is the thing about being a fan, is you want to connect with these guys. They become your guys, and then you want to connect with them and, like, you know, you start to appreciate the little things about them. Thank God we don't have Kyle Kuzma. Can you imagine if we were like combing through the weeds to be like, well, interesting hair sometimes. I don't know. Like, you know, but this guy, I think he's genuinely like super, super interesting. And I do think that the Nuggets needed personality and character. As much as we love Gary Harris and Paul Millsap and those types, a little short on the personality they share with us. This guy seems like he's going to be a loud personality.
I think Nuggets fans are just really going to enjoy watching this guy play too, because he's kind of like a ball of energy on the court. Yeah. Like, he's always sprinting. He's not afraid to like crash into guys under the rim, battle for position. He plays super hard, and that's something the Nuggets really love about him. Just his motor. His motor never stops, and he's just gonna bring like this instant energy to the court. And I think fans are really gonna like watching him play.
Yeah, I think so too. So I'm in on him. And then he seems like, you know, I think he's a high floor, lower ceiling kind of guy. Like, I don't think he projects to be a guy that's going to like lead you to a title or anything like that. But he could be a role player, and I think he seems like the type that knows and accepts that.
He's also only 19. He's only 19.
He's also young. Yeah.
And that's like another thing. He was a freshman, and he put up pretty big stats for like being a one and done guy who slipped to 22nd. Like 16 points, 8.5 rebounds per game. Usually when a one-and-done guy is putting up those numbers at a big-time program, he'd probably go higher in the draft. But he probably was a little overshadowed at Arizona by Nico Mannion and Josh Green at times, so kind of slipped under the radar a little bit. But I think he's talented for sure.
And, I mean, it definitely seems like there's a growing trend in some discrepancies between how scouts view some of these players and the way they're used and coached in Arizona in recent years. So this is a guy who, like Blackburn was on the show last night saying, don't rule out that he can't pass or do other things. And so we certainly haven't seen it yet, but I mean, like, the shooting, he just didn't do it. Doesn't mean he can't do it. Just wasn't asked to. So we'll see.
I love this idea of, like, you know, you want to take a Villanova guy, you know, they have good pedigree, good coaching, but then you're also like, you might want to take an Arizona guy because they have terrible coaching, and they might actually be way better. So maybe,
I don't know if this is true, but I was reading on Medium today, like a statistical analysis of the likelihood, the probability of being an all-star at each pick. 22 and 23, the only spots that have not yielded an all-star
Yet.
if this guy's article is correct.
Yet.
22 and 23?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, I think that trend might continue. I mean, I like Zeke, but all-star, I'd be pretty shocked. I think you have to be pretty happy.
Can I with that wet blanket energy, bro?
That's not even a wet blanket. I'm telling you. Here's the thing you don't understand. Not everybody's a star. You need people to be stars
I understand
in their
this.
roles.
I understand that very well.
There's this great scene in Fargo this current season where he's like talking to this guy who sucks at sweeping, and he's like, everybody wants to be the president. If you're a sweeper, be the Michelangelo of sweepers. Like, the Nuggets need some guys to sweep the court, man, and I think he's going to be an elite floor sweeper.
Your advice to Mr. Nnaji is that not everyone gets to be an all-star, but you should still be a basketball player, but just not as good of one.
It has nothing to do with goodness. Andrew Wiggins is a horrible superstar, right? Dude, I'm telling you, I've used this line before, but I'm telling you it again, because I know that you're joking, but I'm also going to take it serious because it's so important the way to look at basketball. Draymond is the Russell Westbrook, Draymond Green arguing with each other, and he says something like, "You're just a role player." Westbrook to Draymond, "You're just a role player," and he goes, "You're right. I'm a great role player. You're a terrible superstar." This is how you have to look at basketball. If this guy's a great role player, I would take that over than hoping he's a bad superstar. I mean, come on, like, get out of here with that. 22 hasn't yielded an all-star. 23 hasn't. 24 has. And Nuggets also picked at 24 last night, and they picked a guy that, who knows, maybe has all-star upside. Have you also spent your night, Harrison, or morning watching RJ Hampton highlights?
No, because I watched more RJ Hampton than I did Zeke Nnaji before the draft, and I loved Hampton coming into the draft. So I think it's an awesome pick for Denver. It is such a Tim Connolly, such a Nuggets pick, RJ Hampton. I think it's kind of in the vein of the Michael Porter Jr. and Bol picks, where both those guys were super hyped coming out of high school. Something happened to them that first year in college, where there was an injury or just some red flags around them, and their draft stock plummeted. That's what happened to RJ Hampton. He went to New Zealand. Scouts kind of picked apart his game when he was playing against professionals, and his draft stock took a huge hit. I think he's super talented, but he is really raw. He needs to refine his game a lot, so I don't think he's going to play next year at all. But he's so athletic. He's so quick. I think he's got the tools to be a guy who has top 10 potential in this draft.
Wow.
Top 10 potential. Okay,
yeah.
That's interesting. Vogt, what about you? Where have you changed from last night to today?
That ceiling's really, really high. I mean, probably not sort of the MPJ Bull levels, specifically because those guys are 7 feet tall or whatever. But this definitely solidifies, or at least helps, this idea that we've been pushing of a second core, man. I mean, if you want to look at now Jamal, Jokic, and Gary as the original three, you got an next three in the pipeline now of really, really talented guys that could really pan out and contribute. So the commitment defensively on RJ, from what I saw in the film, lacking. Got a long way to go. But this guy is a free athlete at the NBA level right away. Walking into a gym as one of the 3-4 most athletic guys there.
Yep.
So really, really excited. It's a fun pick. It's a way sexier pick than you'd anticipate for trading into the 24th pick at first round,
That's what I like about the draft, and that's part of what gets you excited about how this went. Is Nnaji looks like a great culture fit. He looks like a guy that maybe could be a sleeper role player. It turns out, every team is going to want to have this guy. And then RJ Hampton is the guy that you look at and is just so consistent. He's the next in a line of Michael Porter, top high school recruit. Something went south, drops. Bol, top high school recruit. Something went south, he drops. RJ Hampton, top high school recruit. Some, stock lowered, and now here he is. The thing I would say, I think Hampton's upside is significantly lower than Michael Porter and even Bol. But he has there's a clear path to what turns him into a great player. To your point, Bo, he is Zach LaVine, Russell Westbrook fast, I think, on that first step. Maybe not, Westbrook's such a freak, but that first step, Denver, this is the biggest thing to me. Denver has not had one of these guys. I talked about this a little bit, but I really want to hammer it home. they have not had a quick first step guy in the Nikola Jokic era. You think about how much of the Denver Nuggets game is about ball movement to get the defense broken down and all the little things you do. If you have a guy that just sometimes just beats his guy off the dribble, and not just sometimes, kind of all the time, I think RJ Hampton's number one skill set is attacking closeouts. This would be, from what I've seen of him so far, his number one best skill is it's that first step when the ball's in his hand or when he goes. But that's especially true when you skip the ball to the other side. They have to close out hard on him, and he goes. One of the questions is, do you have to close out hard on him because he's not a great shooter? But let's put that aside for a second. If he can raise that part of his game, he is going to be a great tossed like reverse option, right? You run that out, you run the play for Jokic and Murray on one side, swing it to the other side, boom, he's going and dunking on your head.
Is it a stretch to say that the quickest point guard in that like first step category has been Jameer Nelson? Jameer Nelson was really he was at the end of his career, but he was still with a really quick first step. You know,
I love Jameer.
I do too, man. I still love Jameer.
That offense hummed. That offense,
yeah.
Jameer was great.
Jameer, the funny thing about Jameer too is like you hang around the league long enough. I know this as a fellow old Eric. You maybe know this, although you're a little more hip. At heart.
I am much more
you're
hip. Look at this camouflage sweatshirt.
Oh wow! Look at how cool you are. No, but Jameer Nelson was like seeing him 3 years ago with the giant shorts, like the super baggy like throwback from the late '90s, because that was his era. And he sees these kids wearing skin tight, tiny shorts, and he's like, "Nah, that ain't me, man. I'm sticking to my baggy shorts, just like MJ." But Hampton, man. If we just put all the prospects on the table for Denver right now and talk about the absolute peak reaching their ceiling, who's number one? Who's number two? What's the order here of the Denver Nuggets in terms of all their young players if they all reach the absolute pinnacle? I'll start with you, Harrison. Or actually, I'll start with you, Eric.
Are you talking about just who was drafted? Or you're saying all the
of the players on the Nuggets roster if they all reach their theoretical ceilings? I just want to know what
it's MPJ. MPJ number one.
Okay.
Like if he reaches the ceiling, he'll be. I believe he will be.
This is a hard exercise. I feel like you could give 3 answers right now, maybe 4. I don't know.
I feel like the second most promising player is probably RJ, right? Like he just has like. You don't think so?
What? No, I don't think it's.
You think it's Bull? What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I'm curious. You can give your list. I'm not gonna. I mean, we'll make fun of you, but I mean that's that's life. I'm gonna bully you. There's no drinking today for bullying.
I mean, there's drinking every day for bullying. I think that I don't know. I see a traditional like the athleticism that I've watched on film now like just really makes me excited, and how tall he is, and how I think just he shows me a lot that can really translate in this league. You've seen it work.
It's like
before.
easier to picture him.
Yeah, exactly. And like
Yeah.
after that, I would probably put Bull because he's just so like. I don't even know what Bull's ceiling is. Like,
yeah, that's the tough part. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it just I don't like. We've seen him run the floor, shoot threes, block shots, and it's all incredible.
Look at this! You got Bobby agreeing with you here.
Look at that!
Is number 2. Bobby,
on,
did you have? We've seen the comments, and by the way, that's why we like you guys watch the show live because we love to see everybody's perspective here. In fact, give us your order. I want to see the order that you guys have for. And by the way, when I say prospects, Jokic is a prospect. Do you realize that, or maybe you didn't realize that?
I did not realize that.
Oh, you guys didn't realize that. That's why I was like, wow, RJ Hampton, huh? Over Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic.
But Nikola Jokic is like already been an. At what point do you stop a prospect?
Yes, he is. No, he is. I'm sorry. All the players on the roster, if they reach their best, you think Jokic is the best version of himself? This is what I'm trying to get at.
You should. But when you say prospect, it means like not a player that hasn't been on the team for 5 years and been a 2-time All-Star.
For clarity, this is why I was so shocked. I'm like, wow, Eric, come on, bro. Like,
I thought we were
just going to glance over
players.
Jokic and Murray here, just to go straight to
like, what about Nnaji? Are we forgetting that?
If you would have had Nnaji third.
What about Vlatko?
This is a terrible exercise. Let me rephrase your exercise.
Okay.
Who on the Nuggets will be the best?
I'm just.
Who on the Nuggets has the highest ceiling?
I'm the bull. I'm the one. I'm the victim here. So, all right. If I can rephrase the question, if we just talk about all the players all reaching their ceiling, all of the players on the Nuggets roster, which by the way, I put out this tweet today. I don't know if you guys saw it, but the Nuggets now, Gary Harris is the second most senior player on the Denver Nuggets roster at the moment. I mean, we think they're going to obviously sign Grant. We think that they will. You know, they'll mix some things up here. I'm going to put it on here so you guys can see it because it's actually kind of wild when you see it. Look at this. Hampton 19, Nnaji 19, Bowl 21, 22, 23, 23. Look at this. Will Barton 29. He's the only outlier. Everybody else 26 and under.
Am I the Will Barton of this podcast?
You are the Will Barton of this podcast. Yeah, always.
It's a lot of guards on that list. Not a lot of big men. It's a lot of guards.
But it's just interesting when you look at it in this way and you just look at how young everybody. Gary Harris, literally the second oldest person on the roster at this very moment. We'll see what happens in free agency.
So is Jeremy Grant projected to be 26?
You're not the first to make this to make that joke. So sorry, people. All right, Eric.
Look, after the Buddy Hield thing, maybe we should talk in projections. It's not a certainty.
Should I move on, Eric? Do you want to not go first?
Oh, so okay, listen. So if we're talking about the Denver
title
Nuggets,
of this show is with RJ Hampton on board, the brightest timeline. I can't see the full thing. What's something about the brightest timeline?
I mean, Nikola Jokic, number 1. Jamal Murray, number 2.
Wow.
Number 3, Michael Porter Jr.
Wow, spicy stuff.
Well, what the fuck? What are we supposed to do? Like, I give the obvious answer, it's wrong. Move on. Just move on. I'm off.
All right, vote. I want to hear yours now.
I actually was interested in the back end of your list there because the front end of my list looks just like yours, D-Line.
Yeah.
And then I would say probably Bowl and RJ.
Bowl and then RJ. So he's right behind Bowl. Okay.
Correct. Just because I think, I mean, I agree with the idea there's an easier path, at least like just now picturing it, of RJ. But look, Bowl's skill set, if it pops at his size, it's like, what do you do about it?
Right. What do you think, Harrison?
I would probably slot Jokic 1 because, like, Jokic at his ceiling,
the best big man in the league,
is the best offensive player in the league, and Marc Gasol defensively. Like, I feel like that is better than all these guys could be. I will throw MPJ at 2. I will throw. This might be controversial.
This is controversial.
Then Bowl, then.
Wow. I'm sorry. We just had a man go for 50 points twice in a single series, and we were just immediately I'm sorry. I had to take a moment here just to throw you out for this. Do we want to do another apology to Jamal Murray right now?
No. Look, I think he has an incredibly high ceiling, but don't Bowl and MPJ also have a ridiculously high ceiling also? I'm not saying it. Look, Jamal Murray is much more likely. Jamal Murray is much more likely to reach his ceiling. Much more likely. Like 99.
That's really high.
99% more likely. But those guys have like top 10 player in the league ceilings as well.
Who doesn't love a thought? Who doesn't love a thought exercise with wrong answers?
No, it's not that weird. It's just like Murray was legit a top 5 player in the playoffs.
Does Bowl not have a top 10 player in the league ceiling potential?
Maybe.
Yes. Does Michael Porter Jr.? Yes.
Yes.
Does Jamal Murray? Also, yes.
I'm not saying you're wrong. You're usually the tempered one. I love you.
That's true.
It's hard because, like, I obviously think Jokic is incredible, and I still think he has. I'm going to go Jokic. I'm still going to go Jokic. To me, his upside is still like it's.
Yeah.
Well, the reason you could make an argument like, look, Jamal Murray looked like Steph Curry in the playoffs.
I could make that argument, but you would never make that argument.
I am making it right now. That, like, look, if we did this exercise 4 months ago, I'd have been like, okay, Murray right ahead or right alongside Hampton or something like that, you know. But what we just saw, the glow up we saw, and how consistent he was, I'm like, I'm sorry, Jamal Murray's ceiling is higher than I thought it was. And
me too. Way higher than I thought it was.
He looked like Steph Curry for a solid 2 months against the top-level competition under enormous stakes, and always came up clutch in the fourth quarter and overtime. So
let us know in the comments. It looks like a couple of people agree with Harrison. They really think Bull's ceiling's that high.
Adam needs his veto power from Is Harrison still drunk from last night? Thank you, Bobby. Like, not the same way.
I don't think Harrison ever got drunk last night. I feel like I was the only one that caught a little buzzaroo.
Well, yeah, because we drank 2 beers each. So
we
I was impressed that you
it's all about the speed at which you drink.
I'll still go Jokic number 1, but I'm telling you, I still think Porter and Murray, and I would probably go in that order by virtue of Porter just being so tall, and also him being so, like, we haven't seen that much.
So you had Murray 1 spot in front of me?
I did have him in front of you, though. That's the point. There was a big gap here. That was an important gap.
1 point.
That's true. But the funny thing is all 3 of those guys, at this very moment in time, the further you go into a career, the more that like ceiling and floor narrow, right? Because you just like, okay, they can't get, like Andrew Wiggins, comes into the league, his ceiling is, Kevin Durant, whatever. Now it's like, okay, his ceiling is probably not that great. The possibilities are fewer. But I think those three guys, they all have a chance to be, I think, a KD, Harden, Russ-esque trio in that, like, when you had those three guys, it was clear KD was your guy. But then Westbrook and Harden, they were like, man, I don't know. It's stylistic. Like, will you prefer this style? Do you prefer that style? And there were even people back in the day that thought Westbrook was better than KD or this or that. So I think it could be like that, where those three guys are all such elite talents. Then below that, man, after that I would probably go with Bull and then Hampton. But all five of those guys, to me, have really nice ups. They're all above everybody else on the Nuggets roster, including Monte and Gary. That's not to say that RJ Hampton's going to turn out to be better than Gary Harris or whatever, but I'm just saying his upside right now is better than that, so I think he could be an ideal fit. A couple other notes on him here real quick. Actually, it's really about the Australian League, and maybe tomorrow. By the way, we have the homie Miroslav, who gives us all the insights into both Serbian culture and lifestyle and language and basketball and everything else. We need we're in the search right now for an Australian correspondent. I think we need an Australian/New Zealand correspondent. So if you want to talk, if you have any type of experience or watch a lot of the Australian League basketball league, let us know. Hit me up. Slide into the DMs and let me know if tomorrow, Casual Friday, would love to talk about a little Australian basketball. But what I'm told from talking around is that the physicality of the Australian League is not at all comparable to NCAA.
Wait for Australian corner.
The Australian corner. You got to get the graphic going now.
You're going to have a lot of fun with that one.
He is. It's going to really lead into a lot of stereotypes, I have a feeling. But so then you get the physicality. You're playing against like really strong, really, whatever, but the talent level's low. So it's hard to evaluate players because it's like, okay, you can be a super athlete as he was, but maybe your athleticism isn't what the advantage would be if you were playing against like Iowa and Indiana State and all these other schools. But the talent level isn't as high. Like your top end guys at Duke or whatever are way more talented than your average player at in the Australian League. That's at least how it's been explained to me. So interesting.
Right, and the difference is RJ Barrett not RJ Barrett.
RJ Hampton.
D-line's in my head. RJ Hampton. It's like 170 pounds. The guys in this Australian League and New Zealand are, they've been playing at this.
Thank you.
They've been playing at this level professionally for years. Like, they're big dudes. He's fresh out of high school.
The other thing about where else was I going to go with this one? God, I had one other really great detail on RJ. It'll have to come to me after the break. Are we ready to take a break? We went really long on this first one, but we wanted to update. We still have to talk about Marcus Howard. We still have to talk about Campazzo. I can't wait for it. So,
and jerseys, man. A little jersey.
And jerseys. We have a full ass day today, guys.
MSU Denver Online, guys. I took a class there last summer.
Yeah, you did.
It's a premier online education in a time when online education is all we've got. So if you're going back to school, maybe you're a first-time freshman, maybe you're looking to finish up your degree, why wouldn't you take a class with the people who have absolutely perfected the art of online education? Check out msudenver.edu/online. You can find their whole course list there. Great teachers, great subjects. It's a great place to get an education. Also, check out the Palisade Peach from Breck Brew. I was very disappointed we didn't have any of these on tap at the bar last night. We didn't have any of these stocked upstairs for the draft show, but I'm going to pick some up this weekend. Check out the Palisade Peach. And also check out that Broncos Country Breck Brew. We were drinking those during the draft show last night.
Yes, we were.
You definitely were.
That's right.
You
I love the Broncos. What can I say? Oh, and alcoholism.
Yeah, it's a good beer. It's a good beer.
It is a good beer.
Nice Cape guys here. Are we done? That was a quick read. That was great work, man. That was really good. We do have a lot to get to. All right, let's go. Let's move over now to Marcus Howard. You guys know my takes here. Don't like the little guys. You're 5 foot. Sorry, Vote. Don't 5'11".
Get out of here, Vote.
5'11", and you're gonna have to really sell me on you being good. But I'm at least intrigued. This guy wasn't drafted. I believe he's going to go to the 2-way. I don't know if that's out yet, but it looks like logistically, it looks like he'll end up being a 2-way.
Guy. Marcus Howard. I reported he's getting signed to a 2-way last night.
Okay, I was
your colleague.
I'm breaking the news right now, so you guys can cite me as the reporter here on this one.
Aggregators.
But here's the thing: as you poke around about him, he was described to me, I'm not kidding when I say this, he was described to me as arguably the greatest shooter in NCAA history, a history that includes all of the great shooters, J.J. Redick, Steph Curry, and all these guys. He was described as the greatest shooter in history for a couple reasons. One, he's so little, he only takes contested shots because literally every shot he could take is contested. And he never shot lower than 40%, including this last year, from three, including this last year where he took over 10 threes per game. The guy is like an incredible shooter. I mean, he's 5'11". If he was like 6'3", he'd probably be like a top 5 pick, but he's 5'11". So real mixed bag here.
That's taller than I am.
Yeah, real mixed bag here. Harrison, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, he was described to me as a 5'11" Steph Curry. He shot 41% from three last year on 10 3-point attempts per game. Was like,
that's so many.
I think a 43 or 44 career 3-point percent shooter in college on a ton of attempts. Like, this guy played a bunch all 4 years that he was at Marquette. Led the nation in scoring last year. Unanimous All-American. This guy was a high-level college player, and the Nuggets are pumped to get this guy on a two-way contract. They're hyped about him. Other teams wanted him, but the Nuggets got him, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets' track record for two-way guys was a big reason why he decided to come to Denver.
I've heard this so
funny?
many different times over the years. No, it is funny because I've heard this so many different times over the years about now especially guys want to come to Denver to be on that two-way. And, this is a little bit just how the NBA works now with two-way contracts, that guys that are late second-round picks, or really the whole back half of the second round, guys kind of can say where they want to go. I don't want to be drafted. I want to do this or that. And Denver, from everything I've heard, is one of those teams where those guys want to come now because Terrence Davis, I know he was just on the Summer League team, but, he gets the deal. We talk about Kenrich Williams. We talk about Monte Morris. We talk about Torrey Craig. These are guys that came to Denver, did the two-way thing, and turned into actual NBA players. So now you get people. You've earned the credibility. Now you get the best of the best saying, hey, that's where I want to go. And that's who this is. I'm not saying that he'll turn out that way, but this was a guy, to your point, Harrison, that I've heard a lot of teams were like, this is the guy we want to flyer on. And he was like, nah, no thank you, all you other teams. I would rather go to Denver. They know what they're doing.
Denver, the team without a G League team, just gets everybody on the two-ways.
G League squad. How do we have such a good record? Should we just credit the Windy City Bulls and the Delaware Blue Hens or whatever?
Yeah, what is the what was Monte at? Iowa? What was it?
Monte was at the Rio Grande Valley Vipers.
Rio Grande Valley, that's right.
That's right. Go Vipers, man.
Go Vipers.
Great squad.
Yeah. Marcus Howard, Vote, do you have any Marcus Howard takes? Any updated Marcus Howard? Not really?
I mean, at first, if you look at it all on paper, you're like, how does that guy not get drafted? And then you're like, oh, he's 5'11". So that's a bit, I think this guy's going to light it up in the G League.
Oh, my God.
Light it up.
It's going to be hard to analyze him in the G League when it's like, he had 40 again. I don't know, man. We'll see.
I always think about Jimmer when I'm trying to describe this dynamic. Yes. Jimmer didn't get worse at shooting. Jimmer just could no longer get his shot off whenever he wanted to in the NBA.
And his defense was just atrocious.
And of course, right, and then you just get picked on the other side. But I'm saying, that was one of the most prolific three-point threats of all time in college, right? And he gets to the NBA, and it doesn't really amount to anything. And so getting your shot off, not getting picked on the other side of the court, it's hard to do when you're 5'11". To be blunt, I would know actually because I'm 5'6".
Everything's hard to do.
Really hard.
If you're this guy,
reach stuff.
If you're a guy that is described as the potential greatest shooter in the history of NCAA, and you don't get drafted, you'd be like, what am I supposed to do? I literally did the best I could.
Right?
I know, but what else can I do? I was literally the best shooter in NCAA history, and I couldn't get drafted. What the H, man? This NBA is. It's a tall man's game.
I see this take so much about it, and I completely get it. The Nuggets haven't spent on a G League team. Here's the thing about the G League. You have to really break it into two categories. There are teams that use their G League, like Houston did, like Toronto does, as an experiment, both as a player development experiment, saying, okay, we got these guys. This is the role we want to mold them into, so we're going to design an entire team around making this guy good at his role, not just giving them the ball and clearing out or whatever. But then there's also and then also those types of people that use the league to their G League team to experiment. Houston, before they became the 3-point launching team, they're like, let's see what the limits are of 3-point shooting with our G League team. Let's just have them shoot nothing but threes. Turns out it works. All right, let's implement this. So there's a lot of things, and then also even a coaching pipeline, front office pipeline. Like there's a lot of things you can do with your G League team. So I understand that sentiment, but in the sentiment I'm bringing up here, somebody complaining about the Nuggets having it and saying there's no way they're a good development. But there's a lot of teams that just have a G League team, and it's just like a property that they own. And they're like, oh, this is not a high yield sort of investment. And so, yes and no. That's my answer to this. Yes and no. Denver, I think, has proven that they do a lot of things with player development that work. Would it be better if they fully invested into a G League team like Toronto or Houston? Yes. Would it be better if they just had the Broomfield what was it called?
The 14ers.
The Broomfield 14ers, and they just it's just a property that was sitting there? Probably not. So I'm a little bit mixed on this one, but
there are some things you could sort of hit the ground running a little bit on what you're trying to figure out about these guys. Like Tim always joked to me, like, look, if we had a G League team, like Bull would be playing point guard,
Right.
And so,
yeah.
And you can also get minutes for these guys.
But to your point, Adam, like it's one thing to have it; it's another thing to invest in it. And if it's taken this long to get it, I certainly wouldn't be too hopeful that the Rockies would really invest in the product either, or really treat it like a pipeline. If they did, it would be a smart move because there's a good track record in development lately.
I would have a hard time. But I say that to set the table for if Denver does end up picking up a G League here in the next year or two, I think a lot of people are going to say, there it is, we're done. But it's not the case. Let's see how they approach it, and we can grade it on that. But also, at this current time, before they have one, we should also grade them on the merits of they've developed a lot of players. Not just the ones on the roster, but a bunch on other rosters as well that they helped develop. The other guy that Denver gets here, Campazzo. Now, this one is actually, I guess the Nuggets haven't gotten him, right? Mark Stein has only reported that there's interest, and almost hinted at that this interest is real. I don't think there's anything out.
I can report it's serious interest. It's going to happen,
serious
it sounds
interest.
like.
Okay, I just
It definitely sounds like an after-dinner beverage, by the way. Let's all have a Campazzo.
That does sound like it, yeah. It sounds really tasty. Really, really good.
Such a D-line thing.
That is a D-line thing.
What do you mean, like deeply uninformed basketball opinion?
But Campazzo, look, if he does come over to Denver this year, and he's a guy that's been in Europe, we're going to actually have Miroslav on to talk about him tomorrow. I can't wait for that Serbian corner. He's gonna provide even more detail. But here's what I'll say. He reminds me a little bit of when Teodosic came over, right? And it was, look how fun this guy is. You're a bit of a European star for a long time, finally making the trip over. And I think with Campazzo, it's going to be similar to that. Of course, we've seen him in the Olympics with that Argentinian squad, right? He's been on the big stage, and we've seen him in big moments. But he's just a fun, also tiny, but super, super fun. That him and Jokic are going to have some absurd, if they get to play together, assuming they get on the court together, some absurd two-man game stuff, because you're talking about an absolute wizard. What do they call him? The Magician? Is that his nickname? An absolute wizard with the basketball and just a great score. He's it seems a little bit like a 5'11" Kyrie Irving, only a better passer. So this guy could be really, really fun and could actually end up being a meaningful piece depending on how the next week goes with free agency and trades.
I feel like he's Jokic, but in a 5'11" body. If he was a point guard,
they're gonna have a lot of fun together.
He's not the most athletically gifted guy, but he's quick when he needs to be. Super crafty. You mentioned, his nickname's the Magician. He throws ridiculous types of passes. Pass first player, who's been around for a minute. He's one of the top point guards in Europe for sure. He's just going to be super fun to watch. It's going to be really interesting to see how things work out because it seems like there's a lot of guards on this team right now.
There are a lot of guards on this team right now.
I mean, it's hard not to let your mind wander to other deals, which is not to say that one is necessarily coming, but we've talked a lot about the Monte timeline. Now you've added another backup guard here, and Monte and Campazzo next to each other, it's second unit, so it's maybe you can survive this. You're probably not stopping anyone, but
right.
So I think it does sort of beg the question: will the Nuggets follow this up by sort of consolidating a little bit. They've got a stable of guards that they like. And like Campazzo is not coming here to sit on the end of the bench. He's going to play.
Right.
I would imagine.
Well, he's 29 again, so like, I mean, he's not so old that's like, okay, he doesn't. I mean, he's kind of, you could say, in the height of his prime. Like 29 is usually about when a player peaks.
That's
the
crazy.
mixture of like athleticism and IQ. So
yeah, that is the oldest member of the Nuggets, supplanting 28-year-old Will Barton.
He'd be our vet.
Our rookie vet. Yeah, he's both the rookie and the vet of the squad. No, but I think it's super, super interesting. And here's the thing that I think you need to take away from this. We hear that Marcus Howard requested to come to Denver, right? That's what or at least that he was very interested in being part of Denver's pipeline. You get Campazzo, wanted to be part of Denver. He could have gone a lot of places, wants to come to Denver. So I think Tim Conley said this a couple weeks ago about how, like, agents are calling me now. It wasn't LeBron's agent. It wasn't maybe, James Harden's agent, whatever.
It was Marcus Howard's agent.
But what I'm saying is it does look like you get past that first level of I want the spotlight on me star, I'm the guy. You get the next, what's that?
My chair squeaks, and if someone's just tuning into the show, I didn't just rip ass like
we can't even hear.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Now you only made it awkward. But I just think Denver it does appear that there are guys that are wanting to join, and we'll see how that shakes out here as we approach free agency. Denver quickly approaching now a full roster. Should they end up signing Torrey Craig, Paul Millsap, Jeremy Grant, I'm not sure. I would have to go through the thing. They don't really have that many roster spots available, so there is a real chance that Denver is approaching the final form, assuming again that they don't make a big trade here coming up. So
didn't you report that teams are looking to maybe even carry fewer players this season?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I retweeted something about that. So maybe Denver's done. I think they'll definitely look to add a free agent, maybe, but yeah, you never know. Maybe that's a thing.
I know we're going to a break, but real quick, you would think there's a big to get still, no? I mean, if they describe Nnaji as a project, well, we'll see. We'll find out, I guess.
I mean, if Paul Millsap does resign, do you have enough there? Is Jeremy Grant, Michael Porter, Millsap, Jokic, that's your four-man? I know Michael Porter's going to play some three. That might be it. And then you have Zeke Nnaji that you can trust for 10 games or here or there.
Can you believe like the trade that we made and the yield that we got back? Like we don't even mention them as members of the Denver Nuggets. Like we never mentioned Keita Bates-Diop unless it's above a joke. We never mentioned Noah Vonleh. We like none of these guys like even exist.
You forgot about Keita. Keita under contract for next year.
He is under contract. He's young. You know what's funny is I made that intro video for the draft show and everybody pictured except for Keita. And I even thought about it. I was like, I don't know, man. But you know what? Keita feels like an addition now. Like he was here, but he wasn't really here. Now it's like he's on the team now. We'll see.
Keita, come on the show, bro.
Alrighty then.
Oh yeah, he's definitely coming on after that.
Yeah, like or just beat one of us up when you see us.
Also, Adam, turn the lights on.
Oh, I am getting dark in here, huh?
Well, the music suits it perfectly. Like,
it is a little
let's get comfy, shall we?
If somebody tuned in and it was not familiar with the way we talk on the show, they would just see "Dad better come back." Really find this is a hilarious comment.
Really hope this is the day.
Really hope this comes back.
People would tune in and then tune out right away.
I think that's actually pretty common behavior, if I'm being honest.
Week 10 of football is in the books. It's now time to review the tape and get ready for Week 11. There's no better place to get in on all the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, because it is America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of Week 11, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to earn a sign-up bonus up to $1,000 when signing up using promo code DNVR. Of course, if football isn't your thing, DraftKings is also giving all MMA fans who sign up now the chance to triple their winnings for any bet placed on UFC 255. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get up to $1,000. That's code DNVR to get a deposit bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time.
What was that? On DraftKings, Eric cleaned up last night. He went undefeated.
Undefeated.
If you were following
Yeah.
we actually had people in the comment sections thanking Andre for making them money last night because
Andre was crushing it.
You guys got to watch DNVR bets. My guy Andre, along with RK, they make their predictions every day, and all I know is Andre never misses. He's 100%.
Yeah.
He's gotten 100% of his bets right.
They were crushing it on DraftKings. Where was I? Oh, yeah. That's code DNVR to get a deposit bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus. Deposit bonus requires 25x playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, look, if you have Millsap and Bowl as your backup bigs and Nnaji just in case, I mean, could the three of them carry you through a 72-game season of backup bigs when you know Jokic is going to be your starter, you know Grant's going to be there, you know Michael Porter plays some four? I think so. I'm with it. If Denver did it, I wouldn't mind. I'd be in. On that.
So Plumlee's out. No more Plums.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Dad's leave. It happens here. All right. Well, Eric, do you want to pull up the jerseys? Do you have your screen open where you can? Do you want to do that? You want to take the wheel here for this? Unless you
sure,
want me
I can do it. I certainly don't have it up. I mean, that would be.
Can you imagine Kyle Speller saying the name Campazzo?
Hey, if you have it,
Adam, if you have it, DM right now.
If you have it, why don't you just bring it up? Why do you DM this?
Campazzo.
All right. Well, I guess I'll do everything.
Campazzo. He's not Italian. I don't know why I keep doing that.
All right.
Is he Italian?
He's Argentinian.
Argentinian, right? Yeah.
All right, so here we have. I guess this is the first image. Okay, here we go. Let's start here. Eric, the New Jersey's dropped. We had heard rumors for a while now that we might get a red skyline.
Yep.
I guess I was going to tell you talk, but I'm going to talk. I have the screen share here. It is just a note. It is red, and it is not the same skyline that Denver has used. The colorful rainbow skyline. This is now a yellow skyline, which is.
It's not a yellow skyline.
It's a sunrise.
Yeah, you'd be quiet, Adam. See what happens when you start talking.
It's Denver at 6:30 a.m.
Yeah, this is a sunrise. I think I described it as a sunset, but that's incorrect. It is a sunrise.
Thank you very much. I should have your job.
By all means, have some comps to me 8 a.m. tomorrow. We'll discuss them. So, where to start with this? So I had heard the rumors of red being the primary color in these skylines, which is why I made all of our draft coverage primarily red last night, just to try and go along with that. But like,
that is true. By the way, he did do that.
I did. I mean, this is the exact same design. They've just recolored everything as the black skylines and the whites that came before it. People are not very happy about this. I would say if I just took a quick a quick straw poll of looking at the internet, like people are not stoked, and the reason they're not stoked is because, and I'll say this, like I put a tweet out there, like these things are objectively not ugly. Like these are this is a nice mix of colors. It's warm. It's all the colors are really harmonious.
Harmonious.
But it doesn't feel like Denver at all. Like it doesn't. Right. It's too warm. Like it feels like. I mean, first and foremost, obviously the big elephant in the room is that it looks almost exactly in color scheme like those Utah jerseys, the Utah Sunset jerseys, which are
they're gorgeous jerseys, man. They're pretty iconic, I think. They did.
And that they make sense because Utah is almost all of those. Like it's red everywhere you look in Utah. Like all of those red, all that red sandstone.
Even though we are Colorado.
Yeah. So it's not like these jerseys are like wholly inappropriate for Colorado, but they're inappropriate because they look a lot like our division rival, which is like pretty off-putting to a lot of people.
It's funny though, because I do agree that they look like them, but I don't think he would confuse them. Like they're different enough for me. I think that's part of it, but I think
it's not a confusion. It's just you want to
be different enough.
It's not that you want to be different. You just like
you want to.
Denver in its like if you like really get down to it, like in jersey design, like really. In most cases, like you either have blue jerseys or red jerseys. Something about the human brain wants to divide those two against one another, red v blue, and it's. I'm not sure why this is, but it is. It's just the way that it works, and so it's really difficult when a team goes from blue to red because you sort of like break that connection in your mind. It doesn't feel like the same squad anymore. Like this to me does not feel like Denver, but I will say that anything new doesn't feel like it is until it is. So
once
you see these enough, then it will be a Denver jersey.
Do you know, this reminds
we
me
did
of when the
the same thing
Broncos
last year.
Oh, sorry. When the Broncos went blue back in '99 or '97 or whatever it was, everybody was like, "They look like the Chicago Bears, man. Like we used to have our own color scheme, and now it's the Bears." And now you look at it, and you're like, that's the Broncos. That's the Broncos uniform. I think this will happen too. Like right now, those colors are not associated with the Denver Nuggets, but they will be before long. And they're like you said, in a vacuum, they're gorgeous. So.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say gorgeous. That was I said that they were harmonious. You went ahead and took it to the next level. I feel like, I mean, it's hard to pick apart the design. We're really just talking about color scheme here. I mean, this is the exact same design as the 2 years that have preceded it. The thing about making a whole, like, a change like this is that this is a 1 year jersey. Like we're not going to be like really incorporating this into the heart and soul of Denver, and so they're not really going to have time to make that leap into the hearts and minds of Denver Nuggets fans. Like we'll probably see these things like 5-6 times over the course of the season, but like they look like they should be for the Miami Heat. They look like they should be for the Utah Jazz. They look like they should be for the Houston Rockets or for the country of Spain. They like I don't know. I get why everybody's upset, but also
you know what, Eric? I feel like last year it was bold too, the black skyline, because it's black and Nuggets color in any way.
Well, that's
and then
but black
they have these bubble moments, right? And now we'll remember those jerseys associated with one of the more lit Nugget seasons of all.
Well, right, but see, the difference there in being is that you didn't immediately feel like you were sort of going up and presenting the same look as a hated division rival. Like if the Portland Trailblazers, which have black, also then had rainbow, and we did a black rainbow, that people would be equally upset. Like, so I don't know. I feel like the outrage will wash over with these because again they are attractive. So we'll see where it lands. But I really wanted a blue one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really wanted a Skyline
There's a fifth
blue.
jersey coming out.
There is a fifth jersey coming. If it's another Skyline, I would be absolutely floored, dude. There is another jersey coming out, the earned version. Like I feel like that might be Maxi time. That might be time for Maxi. Yeah. I'm crossing my fingers. We'll see what happens.
So a couple things. I hated these when I first saw them. They are growing on me though, and I do think in person it's going to look a little more red than it does in these pictures, and I think it really could pop on the court if there's like a special floor that they put down to go with it. I think it could really pop in person. So they're growing on me.
To me, it's not the red, the foundation. It's the
it just doesn't look red in these pictures.
But it's the sunset in the middle. It's the middle. It's the orange, the yellow. The oranges and yellows are definitely not Denver Nuggets colors. Like, that's what's throwing people off. It's not the red. Like if there was a rainbow, and they also called it rainbow season, and then this is a very 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 loose interpretation of what a rainbow is. Like they should have said like sunrise season, something like described it in a different way. These are not rainbow jerseys. So it is not the red. It is the middle that is throwing everybody off. That's what looks like Utah. And
wait, go back to it for a second. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, and if this is like correctly designed, but the orange collar doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That seems weird.
Well, so like that is the color that's like right dead in the middle between the yellow and the red.
Okay, so it's correct.
It's like correct. I mean, it's sort of an amalgamation of it. If you look at the red and the yellow, like the middle becomes orange. I mean, there's nothing correct or incorrect about it. It's a little strange that only the top collar is red. Usually the striping on the side would follow suit with that. It's just a choice.
Yeah. Another thing, this is the last Skyline jersey we're going to get. It was a 3-year thing. They did the white, the black, and the red, and there's not going to be any more Skyline jerseys.
I really wanted a blue one, man. I really wanted that like Mutombo era blue one. And again, I put this on Twitter, like their new color scheme that they came out with, Flatirons red, Sunshine yellow, Midnight blue, and what was the last one? Skyline blue. It's called Skyline blue. They didn't use it in their Skyline design. That makes me crazy.
My last thing is the Nuggets, I think, have had some of the best jerseys in the league over the last couple of years. And we're probably just really spoiled from how awesome these jerseys have been because there are some really poor jerseys out there that some
terrible.
NBA teams have.
So somebody, I actually like these. They're growing on me a lot, and I'm already on board. It just took me a morning to get over it. Now I'm in. So I'm in. But I will say I'm not the person with the. People don't ever accuse me of having like great style. In fact, somebody in the comments earlier today said I look like Doug Heffernan, who I don't know who that was, so I had to look it up. And turns out it's the guy from the King of Queens. So maybe the most insulting thing anybody's ever told me.
You look like Kevin James.
I look like Kevin James. Like I know I've had a little weight gain since quarantine, but I didn't realize that was my. Can you imagine that was your comp? Like, Vote, you look like John Goodman. You know, you kind of have a John Goodman-ness to you. Like, wow, I know.
I used to every now and again get not Jim Belushi. What is that guy's name? Jim.
Larry Walker.
I used to get Dirty Larry Walker all the time.
Dirty Larry Walker.
Jim Brewer. I would get Jim Brewer, and I was like, oh, cool.
Who the hell is that?
That comedian that was in Half Baked with Dave Chappelle that just looked.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah, that's
yeah.
actor.
So I was like, oh, cool, that's a famous person. I'm gonna jump out of my window. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So last thing here before we have to get out of here, give the Florida DNVR bets. But we have. Oh, that's cool. So it looks like we're looking at these jerseys. This is the jersey I associate with Gary Harris. If you just show me this jersey and you ask me who's the player for this jersey, I would say Gary Harris. In part because this is the iconic shot and he was
shorts.
wearing.
I hate those shorts. I love.
They look
that
like
jersey.
board shorts.
I hate those shorts. I've always hated those shorts. I hate them.
You know what's funny again is because I have such happy memories. Like this was a happy memory season. I like the shorts. You're right that I hated them until they did dope stuff in them. And this is what I'm getting to about these red jerseys. Like, you do some dope stuff in the jersey, and you're like, dude, I love these things. They remind me of goodness and greatness.
I know, but the problem is we're only going to... I mean, it's not like we had a full season of those jerseys that Gary Harris is wearing.
But it only took this moment for now.
But it only took that moment. That was the biggest moment of the last 5 years. Like, it
was a great moment. Yeah. How do I get out of here? Oh, these jerseys to me are Nikola Jokic. Like I don't know, he looks great in them. So if I see a blue jersey, I think okay, Jokic. And then these black ones,
you guys remember when we were talking about which jersey you should buy, which player? And I said this exactly: Nikola Jokic buy the Mile High City jersey. Mm-hmm. This is, and then Jamal Murray buy the black skyline. Yes, Jamal Murray's glow up absolutely took place in the bubble wearing these jerseys.
Yep.
And he was kneeling in that iconic picture wearing this. I mean, it is absolutely good.
You're right, man. So to me, this is just how it goes. Absolutely how it goes. But here's what's cool about it. We go back to this new jersey now, this new uniform that the Nuggets have, and I just wonder, like, could it be, could this become the Bol or the Michael Porter jersey? Like, we're going to see a great moment in it, and then it's just like always forever in our mind.
But today we're not talking about like, could this potentially be worn by someone when they do something cool? We're talking about like, is this a good looking jersey?
No, but you know what? Like,
still matters.
My opinions on those things change so much once I see them on the court.
Yep.
Always. It's one thing to see the design,
I
but
think
you got to
they'll
see
look good on the court.
Yeah. So anyway, big news day, man. It's funny how you go through an entire the people working the Nuggets, like that make the decisions on when to drop things, hate us. Clearly, as evidenced by we had to go through an entire quarantine, we had to go through an entire thing, and then they were like, okay, you know what? No news, no information, nothing to talk about. Oh, it's draft day? Let's give you everything all at once. Here, talk about uniforms, talk about trades, talk about drafts.
Meanwhile we're drafting states. There's nothing happening.
Drafting candies, because we're just like reaching everywhere. So this was an important news day. A lot to get excited about. Guys, tomorrow... Homie Miroslav going to come on the show. Hopefully we reach out to me. Hop in the DMs. Let me know if you want to hop on and tell us about the Australian League. RJ Hampton. It's an exciting time to be a Nuggets fan, guys. It has been for 5-6 years. The people that know, if you know, you know. It only gets more fun, man. We continue to have fun here. Don't forget to check out our live stream. 5 hours. You can watch all of it. You'll laugh the entire time. You'll have a good time. Or you can just go straight to the different moments in it. See the George Karl interview? It was iconic. I would say I got text messages about the George Karl interview.
So George Karl went in. I loved it.
George Karl brought his take, so you'll want to check that out. And then, of course, all of our guests that were good enough to hop on. All right, everybody, we're getting out of here. See you guys tomorrow.
God damn it, Adam.